I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please stand while we do an invocation by Dan Marshall.
Would you bow with me in prayer? Our gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you to ask your hand of power and guidance to be upon these commissioners and their staff as they conduct the people's business this evening. You have placed great responsibility into their hands. Therefore, we ask that you impress upon their hearts and minds that you will hold them accountable for the manner in which they discharge that responsibility. Their decisions flow from what is in their hearts. Therefore, you have revealed your wisdom to us regarding the importance of the care and nurturing of our hearts. In Proverbs 4:23, you have instructed us, guard your heart above all else, for it determines the course of your life. Therefore, we ask that you give each one of these servants a desire to guard their hearts. May they seek you with their whole heart and look to you for the strength, perseverance, and wisdom that they need in order to serve this community. Only when our hearts are in right relationship to you can we get our priorities and principles right. So may their motives be pure. May they consider others' interests before their own. May they be people of integrity, both publicly and privately. Just as they have a responsibility to us, we as citizens have a responsibility to pray for them. Therefore, we pray for their welfare, their health, unity, perception, diligence, and administrative insight, not just in their role as public officials, but in their business and private lives as well. Lord, we thank you for this privilege of interceding for these public officials, just as you command us to do. We ask that your peace rule in all of our hearts, and that your will be accomplished through their decisions. We ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. All right. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes as presented?
So moved.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay, next we'll go to recognitions and presentations. First we have Child Support Awareness Month. Susan Dillon. I forgot to turn this on anyway. Oh, did I miss that? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sit down for a minute, because I'm way off. That's right, we got some changes. All right, I need a motion to approve the agenda, including the changes on page 4. Have y'all reviewed those?
Yes, I'll make the motion to approve the agenda with the changes on page 4.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Passes 5-0. Now, see, I was so anxious to get you up here. So now if we can have Susan Dillon come up.
Hey, good evening, Commissioners. Obviously, I'm not Susan. I'm Thomas Mitchell. I'm the,
Well, that's
I'm the Deputy Director for Economic Services and Family Support there at DSS. And I just wanted to kind of take a minute to introduce Child Support and Economic Services, since they're both under my purview, just to kind of give you a little bit of information. So the staff in our Child Welfare Department work diligently to ensure that 12,000 children receive support from non-custodial parents, and we collect an average of $12 million a year in child support. And our Economic Services team, our caseworkers are working hard to serve 25,000 food and nutrition recipients each year, and about $4 million per month go back into the community in food and nutrition benefits. And our Medicaid team is hard at work serving 58,000 Medicaid recipients in Cabarrus County, and we have about $12 million a month going back into the community for Medicaid benefits. We do have a short video we'd like to show you that showcases some of our hardworking employees that we'd like for you to look at, and then Susan will start with the proclamation for child support, and I know you guys have to vote on that, and then we have some folks that will read you the proclamation for economic services.
I think I kind of grew up as a child support agent because I started my career in 1999, fresh out of college. I kind of fell into child support, and here I am today. And I do my job because I love to help people, not because I want somebody to thank me or put me on a pedestal. I do it because, to me, it's rewarding whether you say thank you or not.
The most rewarding part of my work, it definitely has to be getting people what they need. And if I can't do it for them, I point them in a direction where they can get the help.
So my career shaped me as a person to be able to help everyone that I can, no matter if it's big or small. I just have a heart for family and children.
Being in child support services is fulfilling. I think with anybody, when you put a lot of work, time, and effort into something, and then when somebody recognizes that and appreciates it and says thank you, that means a lot.
Everybody is going to have to go through it sometime in their life. I did it with my parents, and knowing what I felt like, I feel very fortunate that I can check the emotions and help that family.
We're not looking for a thank you. We know coming into any public service job is thankless, but the thank yous we do get are like the pot of gold. It's like, oh yeah, some people are grateful, like they are happy that we help.
The most rewarding part would be just to know that the work I do helps the child support agents complete the cases, move the case along, and it in turn helps the children, and it gets the children the services they need to thrive, whether it be financial, medical, or both.
We love to help others, basically. We call it, well, I call it God's work. So it's an awesome, again, it's basically an awesome feeling when you can help others and be of service to others.
What drives me to show up for the public is the fact that I know that somebody out there needs us, and we have to be the voice for people sometimes that can't be the voice for themselves.
Making someone feel good after a decision has been made in their favor. You can hear the delight in their voice. So that's the best part of it.
You need to have a passion for people to help people. Our job, it changes every day from day to day. It's never the same, and you must be willing to adapt to the changes to give the best service to the public.
Honestly, the most rewarding is helping our customers, our clients. You know, that's what we're here to do, and we're just here to make the community better.
I think the most rewarding part is knowing that somebody, somewhere, got help today. On this day, a family is in a better position than they were in yesterday because of what we do.
So I am Susan Dillon, and I'm going to ask Sonia Tillman. She was in the video. She's actually going to come up and read our proclamation for us.
Good evening, Commissioners. Child Support Awareness Month in Cabarrus County, a proclamation. Whereas children are entitled to financial support from their parents, and Cabarrus County continues to improve its efforts with child support collections, and whereas in SFY 2025, over $12.85 million in child support was collected from parents of children whose cases are managed by Cabarrus County Child Support Services, and whereas there are nearly 4,500 active child support cases in Cabarrus County, working to ensure that children receive financial support from their parents, and whereas children who do not receive adequate financial and emotional support from both parents may experience greater difficulty in becoming healthy, happy, and productive citizens, and whereas many concerned and dedicated judges, district attorneys, clerks of court, sheriff's personnel, and child support professionals work to establish and enforce child support orders for Cabarrus County's children, one of our state's most vital resources. Now therefore be it resolved that the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the month of August as Child Support Awareness Month in Cabarrus County, adopted this 18th day of August 2025.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0.
Thank you. And now for the Economic Services appreciation, I'd like to call Heather Altman, the Program Administrator for Medicaid, and Robert Cox, Program Administrator for FNS.
Thank you, and I'm not Heather. Hi, I'm Robert Cox, the Food and Nutrition Services Administrator. The Economic Services Appreciation Month in Cabarrus County, a proclamation, whereas individuals, families, and children are entitled to public assistance service and support that they may be eligible for, and whereas Food and Nutrition Services is a USDA federal food assistance program that provides low-income families the food they need for nutritionally adequate diets, and whereas Cabarrus County FNS eligibility staff have assisted in providing food and nutrition services benefits allotments to address food insecurity for federal fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $49,863.58. And also, whereas Cabarrus County Department of Human Services Medicaid eligibility have assisted in providing medical and behavioral health to the citizens of Cabarrus County for federal fiscal year 2025 in the amount of $144 million. I think I skipped a line. Sorry.
Hi, Heather Altman. I will pick up where he left off. Whereas Medicaid is dedicated to providing access to physical and behavioral health care and services to improve the health and well-being of over 3.1 million North Carolinians, and whereas Cabarrus County Department of Human Services Medicaid eligibility have assisted in providing medical and behavioral health care to the citizens of Cabarrus County for FY25 in the amount of $144,850,624. Whereas in FY25, Cabarrus County Department of Social Services Economic Services eligibility staff processed over 17,917 Medicaid applications and 7,526 food and nutrition services applications, meeting federal and state timeliness requirements in both programs. And whereas there are currently 58,839 active Medicaid recipients and 24,080 active food and nutrition services recipients in Cabarrus County. And whereas Economic Services staff in Cabarrus County work tirelessly to ensure individuals, families, and children receive access to medical care and financial support for food and nutrition services. And now, therefore, be it resolved that the Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the month of August as Economic Services Appreciation Month in Cabarrus County, adopted this 18th day of August 2025. Thank you.
You have a motion to adopt the proclamation? So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. Next, we have recognition for the active living in parks. Byron Hagler.
Good evening, Commissioners, County Management. I want to take a moment to recognize our Communications Department for their outstanding work on the recent article that highlighted the Active Living in Parks Department's efforts to serve our community, as well as the Board of Commissioners' support for the new state-of-the-art facilities in both the Afton and Mount Pleasant area. Because of their efforts, this story was selected as a cover feature of our North Carolina Park and Recreate magazine. That's a pretty big deal. So it really puts a spotlight on the great work being done here in Cabarrus County. A special thank you goes to Dominic Clark, who wrote this article, and to the entire Communications Department for pulling everything together into a final product that you see before you. So each of you have a copy of this magazine here. This article also reflects, as you can see from the title, I'm sorry for those of you behind me, Building on a Legacy of Service. reflects the vision of our long-term director, Londa Strong, whose incredible 43 and a half years of service laid the foundation for the department's continued success. It's a testament to her leadership and commitment to this community. I also want to acknowledge Ian Sweeney, who was just recently promoted to Assistant Director of the Active Living and Parks. In his previous role, he volunteered to compile this information that became the basis of this cover story. Ian could not be here this evening. His wife's birthday is today, so he is in the right place at the right time. But he deserves to be recognized as well. The communications team, led by our amazing Jonathan Weaver, consistently shines a positive light on the county and the important work being done. And we truly appreciate their efforts in highlighting the Active Living and Parks Department's service to the community. Thank you very much.
Sean?
And Jason's coming up.
Okay, there he is. Jason?
Good evening, Commissioners. It is my privilege to recognize a member of our emergency management staff this evening whose leadership and dedication have greatly strengthened Cabarrus County's ability to both plan for and respond to disaster situations. Since January of 2023, Dawn Gustafson, Emergency Management Planner 2, has served as the lead of the Cabarrus County Shelter Task Force. In this role, she has exemplified leadership, innovation, and an unwavering commitment to public safety. Under her guidance, the task force has made significant enhancements in our county's emergency preparedness and response capabilities. One of our most notable accomplishments has been the development of successful implementation of the Cabarrus County Sheltering Standard Operating Guidelines. This foundational document streamlines shelter operations and ensures consistency and compliance during emergency events. Dawn's collaborative approach made certain that the guidelines were comprehensive, inclusive of all stakeholders, and outlined core job functions of each position. Beyond planning, Dawn has prioritized our overall response efforts. She organized and facilitated 2 major exercises, one of those being a tabletop exercise in November of 2024, and one being a functional exercise in May of this year. These exercises tested shelter activation protocols, strengthened operational readiness, and resulted in measurable improvements to how we respond in our times of need. Dawn's commitment also extends beyond Cabarrus County. She recently assisted with response and recovery efforts in Western North Carolina in response to Hurricane Helene. There, she not only contributed her expertise to support our neighbors, but also brought back valuable lessons that continue to improve our own emergency plans. Through her proactive leadership, exceptional organizational skills, and commitment to service, Dawn's efforts have directly supported our mission to protect and serve our residents in their greatest time of need. As I've often said, I'm not sure you will find many employees more dedicated than Dawn is to both emergency management and Cabarrus County. It is for these reasons we recognize Dawn tonight as a recipient of the County Manager Award of Excellence, and I will now turn it over to County Manager Newton for the official award presentation.
Thank you, Jason. I'm so pleased to be able to present this award to you on behalf of the board and the County Manager's Office. It's easy to see the dedication you have and the emphasis you place on emergency management. And as Jason said, not only is Cabarrus County lucky to have you, but the broader state of North Carolina is lucky, and so thankful for all of your work and tireless effort to make this region safer and then to help with other regions in need. So thank you very much, and congratulations for the Excellence Award.
Thank you so much.
All right, next we're going to recognize Sergeant Marshall Williams for retirement. If Sheriff Van Shaw would please come on up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Commissioners. Appreciate the opportunity to come before y'all tonight to recognize an outstanding employee who is retiring very soon. And so I wanted to take an opportunity to share with you a little bit about Marshall Williams' career She's an outstanding person. She has valued over her 30-year career in law enforcement, education, training, and the mentoring of so many women law enforcement officers across this state. She began her law enforcement career in 1995 with the Onslow County Sheriff's Office, and then in 1997, she moved to the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. And after a very brief early retirement, we met, and I convinced her somehow to come out of retirement and come to work at the Cabarrus County Sheriff's Office. And she accepted, and we're thrilled. She's had such an impact on us because she brought so much experience, value to the sheriff's office and expertise, and helped us in a lot of ways. She had a lot of impact in the time that she served with the sheriff's office. At Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office, she rose through the ranks and to all the way up to the level of captain at the Mecklenburg County Sheriff's Office. So very impressive career right then and there, but somehow we got her over here, thank goodness. But she came to the sheriff's office, started serving as a deputy. She also served as our civil execution coordinator. That doesn't sound like it, okay? That's civil process execution coordinator. And she now serves in our detention center as a housing supervisor because she was recently promoted to sergeant over that group. I said earlier she values education. She holds a bachelor's degree in criminal justice from Pfeiffer University. She holds a master's degree in criminal justice administration from Methodist University. And if that's not enough, she's also pursuing her PhD in leadership and organizational management. So she's a very busy lady, to say the least, and values it highly. Sergeant Williams has also been an avid member of the North Carolina Law Enforcement Women's Association, which is a statewide organization. And it serves to mentor and to help bring unique training to women that are in law enforcement and allow them to interact and be a great mentor to a lot of them. So not only has she been active in that association, she has also served as the vice president, and most recently, the executive director of that association. So when I say she's involved, she's extremely involved. She's also served the state of North Carolina on the North Carolina Department of Justice Education and Training Commission. She served as a commissioner for several years on that commission, which is an important commission. It reviews officers' applications, disciplinary process, and helps shape training that occurs among justice officers in North Carolina. So we're extremely proud of her doing that as well. That's by appointment to that commission, so very proud of her. She's also a certified law enforcement instructor, and in one way how she helped us dramatically, in addition to all the experience she brought to us, is that she established the Sheriff's Office first in-house detention officer certification course and our first in-house general instructor school as well. So it allowed us to train our people at our facility and not have them go out of town or to other areas to receive that training. She set that all up and worked with many of the folks in our training division to make it happy. So it is bittersweet, but I'm so happy for her. We hate to lose her, but we're just losing her from the job. We're not going to lose her friendship. So I just want to say on behalf of the Sheriff's Office, congratulations, well deserved, a long, prestigious career, and we're so happy for you. You're welcome. You're welcome.
Behalf of the board, there's a clock. I think it's got the same time on it every time, so you don't have to follow it anymore. You are now off the clock, as they all say, right? So, but congratulations. I'm so proud of everything you do.
Thank you.
You come with mine to the gym, I know. It's a hard place to live. Same here. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
I would just like to take a moment to say thank you to the commissioners, and especially thank you to Sheriff Shaw for the opportunities, everything that I've been able to do since working with Cabarrus County. I had to have his permission to do it. And so I'm just grateful for the opportunities because, you know, without him signing off on the commissioner and everything else that I've done, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So I say thank you. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I want to just recognize her family that's sitting back here that came to support her. I think it's been a long way. Thank you all. If you want to have it, I like to say she's all yours. Thank y'all so much.
Okay, we're now going to move to informal public comments.
First up is Jerry Anderson.
Jerry Anderson, Kannapolis, North Carolina. I don't have much to say tonight, but I just guess I'll speak off the cuff. My daughter, being a parent of a child with mental problems, is a very hard thing. Getting them through, seeing the things you face, and it's very, you become to love that child a lot. And when you see them done wrong, it tears something in your stomach. And my grandchild was removed from my house and never told why. And this child lived with my daughter's parents that loved her, and this child knew that we loved her. And she was going to school and everything. And because this county had an agenda, they took my daughter from the house. Not a reason, an agenda. Because there was no reason for that child to be removed from my house. And I've been up here time and time again. I understand y'all can't talk, but you can listen. And God is love. God is great. And I love every one of you. I don't hate you. I just want justice, and I want maybe see my granddaughter one more time. But my daughter, she got taunted. She was mental. She got up 300 and some pounds. But when she died, when I buried her, she was 100 and something. She lost all that weight because God gives us love, and she loved that child whether she had a mental problem or not. And when they took that child from her, they killed my child, my daughter. And, you know, I don't like to tell this tale. I don't want to tell this tale. But when a child 7 years old is taken out of your house, what are they to believe when they never see the people again, ever? What is the reason for taking a child out of a house when you got no reason? I've been asking the government here why y'all took that child out of my house, and I never got an answer. That should be the first thing. And because I call up and ask, and people say we can't go there, they told us to leave it alone, and we don't get an answer, I get in trouble. But regardless, I just want to tell y'all, anybody that carries these things, this is the devil's Bible. And when you open it up, you open the devil up with it. People used to carry Bibles, they carry phones, they stuck to them now. The devil did good with these phones.
Jeter Anderson.
Good evening, Jeter Anderson. I come up here and I try to help this veteran get answers to what happened to his vulnerable daughter. My sister also. Did you get that help for her, Dad? They supposed to be helping her. They supposed to be helping her, or are they helping her because she's in bad shape? They supposed to be helping her. I went up there to get help for her, son. What more can I do for you? I said, it don't look like help. It looks like they're hurting this girl. Gotta get somebody to help. I've tried for a long time to get somebody to listen to me, to get somebody to help. She dies. I finally get somebody that acts like a leader, that seems like they're a leader up here. Not somebody that hears me, looks at me, listens, and does nothing. I got somebody to listen to me and hear me out and hear what we have to say. And maybe, just maybe, we can get answers to why a vulnerable individual was treated like she wasn't a vulnerable individual. And she died because of that. And maybe then I could stop advocating for this veteran, start working on myself. I like to work on myself. I got goals and dreams and things I like to do, but I'm just stuck in this abyss of trying to help this veteran. And tonight I finally get to come up here and talk about something different than try to report what's went on with Erica Anderson and everything. I feel like I get to, if I want to talk about a problem with the county, I feel like I could tonight. I don't have to talk about the same thing, and it is so relieving. But definitely would like to get this veteran his answers to some of these questions. It should be answered still. And no doubt with this leadership up here that probably happened. I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all.
Dr. Grace Galloway.
I'm short. Good evening. My name is Grace Galloway. I'm a nurse practitioner with a PhD in public health, and I specialize in addiction medicine. And I've been providing free health care for 50 years or more to the underserved. I'm here to really address the opioid crisis in Cabarrus County. We all know that this is a crisis, and as such, it should be dealt with as a crisis. If your house is on fire, that's a crisis. You don't try to put it out with spit from your mouth. What we need to do, we're doing a fairly good job. We really are. I'm not here to beat anybody down. We're doing a pretty good job, but pretty good isn't good enough. It is not good enough for the families of these people who are addicted, most of them addicted legally because they got pain medications, opioids written for them by their physicians, and then suddenly cut off. The withdrawals that those people go through, the pain, both physical and mental, is absolutely unbearable. I have watched them and seen them. They then had to go to the streets to get opioids, to get over that withdrawal. Well, we now have a wonderful program. We have received opioid settlement funds, over 20 million of it. What are we doing with it? What are we doing with it? We have to meet the patient where they live. You know, this is where, and I'm going to talk about the EMS system, working very closely with the Sheriff's Department. They didn't know I was going to talk about them today. But they work very closely together. So when somebody comes out of the prison system or the justice system, the Sheriff's Department actually alerts EMS as to these people who are coming out who have been addicts and were imprisoned because of addiction. EMS then meets them where they live. Let me tell you, EMS goes to them. This is what we need to do. People who come out of the prison system or rehab, do you honestly think they have the ability to get to the appointment 20 miles away or even 5 miles away or 10 miles? They don't. They do not have that resource. This is where EMS comes in. Many times these poor patients these poor people come out of the judicial system And the first available appointment that they have for Suboxone for addiction treatment is 4 weeks away? Okay, that's nice. They got an appointment, but it's 4 weeks away. What are they going to do in those 4 weeks? We need to meet them where they live. Let's give EMS and give the Sheriff's Department a big hand of applause because of what they are doing, but we need to do more.
Ingrid Nurse.
Great day, Commissioners. I'm Ingrid, for the people, by the people, because I am the people. My concern today is about the economic development. It's ironic how some commissioners claim to have supported EMS, our schools, and our Sheriff's Department, yet voted against the entire funding package. If you truly support our county employees, and thank you county employees for all you do, why would you block the very resources they rely on? You cannot say you care and then vote to hurt the people doing the work. Make that make sense. On top of that, why are you trying to reduce county employees' benefits? That's unreal. These dedicated public servants who work very hard to earn their benefits with dignity, stripping them of what they rightfully earn is wrong and disrespectful. It's bad for economic development, morale, and retention. Again, I am Ingrid Nurse, for the people, by the people, because I am the people. Thank you again, public service, and for everyone that do what they do to make Cabarrus County strong and sane. I'm Ingrid.
Jean Chandler.
Good evening. My name is Jean Chandler, lifetime resident of Kannapolis, even the same address all my life. I'm a longtime member of RFACT, which is Region F, Area on Aging, representing Cabarrus County. Also an appointed member of the North Carolina Tar Heel Legislature, representing Cabarrus, and a longtime member of North Carolina Extension and Community Association. At a recent meeting, a lady was telling me that she had to move out of her house that she and her husband had built and paid for. She had to move into a small apartment. The reason was she is now a widow and cannot afford to pay the taxes. When elderly people are forced to leave their homes, it also means they can't take all the things they have collected with all the memories that are connected to those collections. I want to discuss House Bill 432 in North Carolina, also known as the Property Tax Relief Study. Two of our local House representatives have sponsored this bill, Brian Escoveria, District 82, and Jonathan Allman, District 73. This bill was the Revenue Law Study Committee to examine existing property tax relief programs and review changes to reduce the burden on vulnerable homeowners. It will examine ways to cut the property tax bill for some North Carolinians who struggle to keep up with spiking home values and individuals on fixed income, such as the elderly and the disabled, who are particularly burdened by their property taxes. 3 of you voted for the latest budget and the tax incentive for new businesses. Did you even listen to the voters and the financial burdens they are facing? I was here and no, you did not. I'm a senior and I built on family land, and I would not sell no matter how much you go up in the value if I have a choice. But if I were to lose my husband's income, I would not be able to pay the taxes on my house and my land. What I would like for you to understand, Concord and Kannapolis were mill towns. This is my heart. The people worked for low wages, but it was a job, and they were glad to get the paychecks. They lived in mill houses that some were able to purchase after a few years. The men coming back from the war lived in what was called GI houses. They would now be called tiny houses. A lot of these people retired before the mills closed, while a lot were still working, making payments and paying taxes. Not one of you could live on the retirement checks these people receive. I know I couldn't, but now they're having to buy their houses again. I want to urge everyone to know who you vote for and what they really stand for. Call your representatives and tell them you appreciate the stand they're taking by putting their name on Bill 432 and speaking out. Keep in mind that statistics show that by the year 2035, the seniors will outnumber the young voters, and we could very well carry the election by joining forces.
So moved.
Second. Right. Any discussion on that? Right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Passes 5-0. All right, then we go to new business. Sean, our county manager, will talk about the co-locate proposal with Allen Volunteer Fire Department. And I believe we have a presentation.
Yes, sir. First of all, I want to apologize for all the text or emails or phone calls you might have received in the last week because of this presentation, but nonetheless, I appreciate us being able to move forward and speaking on it. So we did put together a presentation and appreciate the opportunity to go through some of the information and background that provides some additional support on this item. You might have to teach me how to advance this thing. Okay. Now we're cooking. Now I just gotta go back. Okay. I was pressing buttons and send us forward. Okay. So as we have discussed in the meeting the other day, the whole purpose of this presentation is to discuss the co-location of the squad with Allen Fire Department. I put together a presentation that has a lot of the background, has a lot of the statistics and the data that goes in behind why this request was made, but it also covers some things that might have been brought up to you all in the last week or so that we can walk through and discuss if needed. And I'll also have a couple canned questions and things, canned answers that I know that I will forget to cover, so I have those I'll cover at the end. But so again, the background in this, so currently the squad is located at EMS Station 2. That's where the program has been located since it went 24 hours several years ago. The program was originally incepted in 2016. The whole thought process behind the program was that fire service in the state is continuing to decline, and so we need to be able to foster that and supplement the fire service in the county. And I'll show you some quotes from the fire study, and you'll hear me reference the fire study. The fire study was done in 2020, was completed in late 2020. This is it, and I can provide you a copy of it if you'd like. But essentially, the county hired an independent company to come in and analyze the fire service of the county and give suggestions on how to improve the service of the county. Some of the quotes come out of here. This is completely independent. It was completed by the Fire Chief Consulting Group, which is an independent company that's comprised of fire chiefs from across the state, emergency services professionals from across the state, none of them which were tied to Cabarrus County. This was to get a good overall look at the fire service of the county and make suggestions to that. If you've never had the opportunity to read it, I would suggest that you do. There's a lot of good content in here. Whether or not you make any decisions off of it or not, it's good for your situational knowledge as an elected official. So I'll reference some of those in here, but it will give you some additional background on the program as well. So again, they were put there because it was a county owned facility. It was easy, it was convenient at the time. Although it was not optimal for location, it was not optimal for the living quarters. Up until recently, with some moves between EMS, our truck was even sitting out in the weather. It actually did not have a bay. If we ever do look to move to a bigger truck, the station is not equipped to facilitate that apparatus. And overall, as far as the layout of the building, layout of the structure, when we get into situations with dealing with personnel issues and office space and things like that, the location is just not optimal. So we were approached by Allen Fire Department several months back through their original inception and design process of a second station. So I'll provide a little bit more background in this further in the presentation, but so they have cleared the land is cleared, it's graded, the erosion control's in place. And speaking to Chief Dozier, trying to get some background on their thought process on the station idea has been in place for several years, even back to two previous chiefs behind Chief Dozier, who is the chief today. So they approached us several months back, and in a part of the original discussions, there were several things that we had to work through. What were they looking at as far as price? What are they looking at as far as timeline? And all of those things had to be hammered out before we approached any of you all with any type of conceptual idea on whether or not we wanted to move forward on those things. So it took us a while to work through those things. So work through the possible cost and feasibility prior to bringing to the Board of Commissioners. So at this point, we're proposing a co-location with Allen Fire Department Station 2, which is located, the proposed location in which it will be located is 5650 Miami Church Road. It does present us an opportunity for a cost-effective public nonprofit partnership. The project does align with the 2019 Cabarrus County Fire Protection Study recommendations, and again, I'll speak to those in a second. And we do see that these partnerships have been utilized by the county in the past. So we do have a couple co-location type agreements. This will be the first one specifically with fire-related services for the county. But we do have similar agreements with EMS who are currently co-located with Harrisburg Fire Department, Midland Fire Department, and Concord Fire Department. Cool. Okay. So these were the specific fire study suggestions. This was quoted, I copy and pasted it out of the fire study, the PDF that I have, and pasted it right in here because these deal specifically with the topic that we're talking about today. And again, these came from independent people not associated with the county, and this was their opinions. The supplemental staffing model that Cabarrus County is currently utilizing is recognized as a best practice in North Carolina. The station location for the squad should be evaluated. While it has been functional, it lacks some of the space needs that are essential for 24/365 operation, and the responding equipment is not housed in heated space. An analysis through the GIS portion of this project has determined that if there were one squad, which there currently is, it could be more effectively located to the east of the current location based on the incidents that the squad historically responds to. And again, this is from 2020, but I'll reference some more recent data shortly. Longer-term consideration should be given to determining two optimal locations where future fire stations would be built in the county, whereas Cabarrus County government could partner or collaborate with a private, nonprofit fire department or municipal government to include adequate space for the squad operation from the design up. So this is, and I referenced this in our original meeting last Monday, or 2 Mondays ago, I guess it was, for the fire studies mean, I talked about that statistical analysis on the mean average, mathematical average. And I know it's hard to see on here, but there's a green dot that sits in the middle of this map. That green dot is the mean center. If you take all of those little heat map points, the purple and violet colored points there, that represents all of the calls that they ran from 2018 to 2020. And so they ran a geographical statistical analysis at that time to determine, okay, if you take all of these and you find the most center point from all of these calls, where does that fall? That green dot is where that falls. If you travel about 3/4 of a mile southeast from that green dot, that's where they're building Allen Fire Station 2. So we did hear some feedback that that was old data. So I ran new data. So I ran a statistical analysis for all of our calls, ran from 2020 to 2025 to find the centroid, which is where that green dot would be, and did a demand analysis based on that. So our 5-year call volume centroid is those lat and longs, and I'll show you that on a map shortly. The distance from that centroid to the proposed station is 3,831 feet, so approximately 3/4 of a mile. The proposed location nearly matches the historical 2018 to 2020 demand center. So what that tells me is that we're consistent. We're 8 years, let's see, 8 years into that data, 7, 8 years into that data, and it's remaining consistent. And there's the location on the map. The red balloon, so to speak, marker up there is where the that centroid location is that I spoke of. And then if you see the 0 on the opposite end of that measurement line there, that is where the proposed station is being built. So to further back up my analysis, I also provided those same spreadsheet of calls, which was over 2,000 calls over the last 5 years, and provided that to our GIS folks. And I had them do the same statistical analysis that I did on my own. And what they did is they plugged that into their GIS systems. Hank Pelfrey over in GIS was able to help me out with this. And when he generated it, it came up right around the same area. It was a little bit different. It pulled a little bit farther west, and that's because the data set that I sent him also involved some calls that would not typically run over in Odell. We don't run to Odell on a normal basis just because it's so far of a travel, unless they call us on specific calls. And so whenever I ran my analysis versus when he ran his, some of those calls were not in there. So when he ran his analysis, it did pull that point a little bit farther west. So closer back to where Allen Station 1 is at the intersection of 601 and Miami Church Road. So this graph here, or this table, shows the calls for the squad for the last 5 years, 2,223 total calls. You'll see the number of calls in the column over here to the right. So that tells me that number is how many calls they ran in that particular district in the last 5 years. And those are ranked based on first to last on the greatest number of calls to the least number of calls. You can see that the greatest number of calls is in Allen's Fire District. And the reason that is because that's where they currently sit, is right outside. They're currently in the city is where their current station location is. But because of the convenience of them sitting there, they're used more often. And any other fire department, if they were sitting adjacent to their district, would also utilize them more because they're there. It's their quicker response. It's easy hands that's provided by the county. The second one you would see would be Midland, and that's because of the call volume, and then Mount Pleasant and so on. The other number I want to call your attention to is the difference in the travel distance on those based on the current station and the proposed station. So you'll see the difference there in that difference column. So a negative number would show a reduction in travel distance. So for Midland, you would see a reduction in travel distance from 2.6 miles, Mount Pleasant, a reduction in travel distance for 4.5 miles, and so on and so forth. And then you can look at those at your leisure. Allen is the only one in the top 5 that shows a positive increase, or top 6 that shows a positive increase in mileage, and that's because this is ran from where their Station 2 would be and not where their Station 1 is at. And that's because I used the stations as the geographical points to do my measurements off of. So the conceptual layout of the station is a modern design with capacity for growth. It does feature a dedicated bay for Squad 410 with capacity for future expansion if needed. It's energy efficient, built for multi-agency use. And then another thing that we're always on top of today is cleanness and decontamination sufficiency. When we're dealing with carcinogens and we're dealing with cancer, the station does feature the ability to integrate those things during construction. So I did feature a schematic of what the station, conceptual station layout is. This is what's been provided to the architect and to the contractors as they're selecting their architect and their contractor during the selection process. To give you an idea of what that layout looks like, you can see the typical bedrooms, day room, kitchen, office space, bay space, and so on. Approximately 8,500 square foot is what they're looking at with bays included. So some key points that were provided by Allen Fire Department regarding this station, and then from our vantage point as well. It gives them the resources to remove their 9S area to have the straight rating of 3 for ISO. This will allow property owners to save money on insurance premiums. So I talked about this at our last meeting. Any Property that's greater than 5 miles from a fire station is not eligible for that lower ISO rating, and so the building of the station would enable those homeowners to receive the same lower premiums than anybody else in the fire district would. It gives a place to store reserve apparatus. They currently have an engine 2 and 2 service vehicles, or currently have an engine and 2 service vehicles sitting outside of the current station. Future growth with Concord, with the plans for Concord to build a fire station on Flow Store, approximately 4,000 square feet from their district line. The new station gives them a place to relocate if needed and to look at possible merger for neighboring department in the future. It puts water rescue equipment and trained personnel closer to the flood areas that they respond to with Georgeville. It gives them the ability to diversify their responses by staffing a tower and an engine with 24-hour coverage. It decreases response time for mutual aid in the more rural areas. It provides better coverage for the community by decreasing response times, increasing the available equipment on the scene at an incident, and providing more personnel. And they do plan to staff 2 people at each station 24 hours a day. So cost, Allen Fire Department secured financing pre-approval with an additional approximately $475,000 cash on hand in the bank, liquid assets currently. Allen Fire Department's project cost is an estimated $3 million. County's participation is a cost not to exceed $1 million during the build phase. And then the county continuation cost will be 36% of the janitorial utilities annually. So addressing some of the concerns, co-location does not require district boundary changes. Based off of that, the building of a fire station does not automatically necessitate a district boundary change. Although there could be pressure in the future, depending from all sides, it does not automatically require it. The board always has the decision and always has the right to decide where the district lines fall. The other thing I want to bring to your attention is whenever we add a fire station, we can change responses at any time if needed. If a station sits closer to somewhere, and we did it with Flow Store in Midland for years. The background on that was that the same process happened whenever they reduced the 6 mile to 5 mile area. The county at that time approached Flow Store in Midland and said, we need somebody to build a fire station to achieve this response differential. Midland chose to build the fire station, Flow Store did not. What the county did at that time, instead of changing district lines, was they adjusted the responses. The problem that we have with these particular properties is there is no fire station that's within the 5 mile reach of these properties. So without building a current fire station, the properties that we have up there that are not achieving that ISO rating are not going to achieve it without the building of a fire station. So if we need to, if there are pushed for a concern about whether or not that fire station is responding to a certain cause, we can work with Allen Fire Department to adjust responses to achieve the same response even without adjusting district lines. Response with surrounding districts is occurring either way through mutual aid and can continue even more so, and that speaks to the same piece that I just spoke about. There's rumor of Allen garnering support from citizens and other districts to request district change. And I have Board President Mike Faggart here, and he can attest, and anybody else at Allen could attest that to my knowledge or anybody else's knowledge on the fire department, none of that has occurred. There are no contract or ordinance provisions that prohibit the building of a fire station. The land is cleared, graded, and the wastewater control is in place. Allen intends to build the station with or without county partnership. I think there was a question on whether or not the contract had a feature in it that said, does the county have to approve a fire station build? The answer to that is no. There are 2 provisions in our contract currently that require county approval. One is air packs, one is apparatus. Apparatus purchases or air pack purchases exceeding $50,000 have to have a certificate of need from the fire marshal. That is the only pieces right now we have in contract or ordinance that require county approval to move forward on any purchase or any movement whatsoever with the financials of the fire department. The opinion of merger discussions that are outside the scope of this decision.
Can I ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
So that says Allen intends to build with or without county partnership, because we can't control if they can build a fire station, but we do control those contracts, do we not?
Yes.
To each individual fire station.
Yes.
Because what it seems like happened is they started playing a game and didn't invite the biggest players that have to decide on something. And I'll get to it at the end, but there's absolutely ways if they want to build that station. You can merge the two departments and make it one contract, because it kind of feels like they're twisting arms here. And when I had a conversation with them, and it was like, you can either vote for it or we're going to have to just step away from it. Well, I'm purposely not going to vote for it tonight. I'm going to absolutely push it back to the work session. And if you got to walk away from it, walk away from it. because that's exactly what it seems like they're doing right here. I can't control whether you build a fire station. That's fine, but I can control your contract. Because, correct me if I'm wrong, at the last budget, we purposely kept those tax rates where they were at because those departments begged us to for personnel and for radios. And now we're building a fire station, we're buying a ladder truck. I was a captain on a ladder truck. You know that. Some of those roads in that district, you're not gonna get a ladder truck down those roads. We both know that. So I understand where this is going, but I wanna make it clear that while we can't control if they build that fire station, we can control their contract. Is that correct? As in, I can force those two departments to merge into one and give everybody in that district one flat tax rate instead of a 15-cent maxed out one and somebody else getting ISO 3.
Yes
that
and
correct?
no.
Okay.
Because they're still two independent nonprofit organizations. We can merge districts. We can eliminate contracts. We cannot invent services to provide the services to those districts. Right now, we draw the contract with those two nonprofits. If those nonprofits choose not to continue to provide service to us, then we have to do it ourselves, which you and I both know is a hefty price tag. A lot of money. So to stand in your corner and say, yes, we can control the contracts, but we have to have the provisions in place ahead of time to make sure those citizens are protected. And the merger process between two fire departments, if those boards of those nonprofits, again, we can't control what those boards do. They're still independent boards. We draw a contract with them, but we can't control them. They have a whole 55A general statute controls the nonprofits and the laws that they have to follow. We can't force them to merge. We can say that you got a five-year timeline to do this, or we're going to do X, Y, and Z, but there has to be some type of plan in place that's affordable.
How is this any different from 2 years ago when Flo's Store tried to do this to Midland and this board shot that down? I mean, they actually bought a house or some sort of building and they were going to plop that right on that district line, and we said no. So how is that any different now, just because they've cleared it and graded it, and apparently they're planning to build with or without our partnership?
Well,
so how is this any
the
different?
reverse on that is that when Flo Store chose to buy that house, and I can't speak for Flo Store, they're not here, but when they chose to buy that house, the county knew that there was a sufficient station in place that covered the districts. And the plan was, and the suggestion was, and you can go read the fire study, the suggestion was to alter the district lines based on the station location that was originally put in place to cover those districts, or cover those areas that couldn't be covered in 5 miles. And that the county would alter the district lines at some point in time to reflect that build of that fire station. That never happened. Just like now, Flo Store chose to go buy the house. They chose to intend to build a fire station at that time. I can't speak for them. I can't say if that was an effort to protect their area. I can't say if that was because they truly thought it was needed. I can't speak to that. But just like when they chose to make that purchase then, we as a county didn't have a say-so. We sat on a meeting with their lender and told them what the county's plans was, what the agenda items were, what was coming. The lender still chose to move forward with financing the property. The district lines were moved, again, because the purchasing of that house intended to use a fire station did not alter the board's intent to change the district line to reflect the current fire station. Whether that was a fiscally responsible purchase or not, the county chose to move forward with moving the district lines. And that's where I'm stating here is that whether a fire station is built or not, it does not have a direct impact on how you alter district lines.
And I understand that, but if this half of the room is Georgeville, and this or Mount Pleasant, and this half of the room is Allen, and your house sits right there, and I can either pay maxed out 15 cents fire tax, or I can get to this station who literally dropped it like 1/10 of a mile from my district, everybody's going to go with that. And I know right here it says garnering support of citizens not wanting their district change. If you can go from a maxed out 15 to a ISO 3, everybody's going to go to ISO 3. So in essence, you're absolutely pulling that tax base away. That's exactly what this is.
If the board approves it. But, and Commissioner Workman, I'll call it to your attention now, and we began on looking at every area in this county that is not perfectly aligned to a fire station and got the political pushback and dropped it. Because there's properties across this county, pretty significant offsets that are way closer to a fire district or a fire station that's not the district that they're currently in. And there's a huge misalignment in this county based off of fire station location and property location.
Out of all the phone calls I've gotten and emails, we've all gotten it. We've been blowing up over this when we didn't even have a chance to really understand what was going on. The district lines was one. Another one, and this is, I'm not accusing, this is just me telling you exactly what I was told so that when we bring everybody back to the table, they can address it. I was told that Allen Fire Department pads their calls with Squad 410 on every single call, which is why they're always on so many. I was told that half the people that work on Squad 410 also work in Allen. And then I was told that we are buying Allen's reserve engine from them to put Squad 410, which my concern with that is the taxpayers of Allen Fire Department already bought that fire engine to begin with. So now they're going to sell it back to us and we're going to buy it for a second time. And then you're going to do whatever you want to do with or without our partnership. Like, it does not look good.
Well, there's a couple.
And like I said, that's everything that I've been hit with for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. And they've not been nice. It's been pretty hostile. And so, again, that's not me accusing. I want everybody to know what I have been told so that when they come to the table in our next work session, everybody can clear that up, because that's what at least I'm being hit with right now. So.
And out of all the fire chiefs in this county, I've had one contact me and ask me for clarification. I've had one contact me and ask me and explain their concerns. One. Out of all the fire departments in this county, one. And in fact, I talked to Chief Dozier today, and he said that 2 or 3 of the fire departments that he spoke to, their chiefs, they were completely unaware anybody even called you. So to say that there was an accurate or official representation from those departments to this board, I would say would be inaccurate as well. To those couple items, one, we've had no official discussions with Allen. Have we talked about it? Have y'all had discussions about the whole apparatus situation? Absolutely. Have we had any official negotiations, talk to anything of that nature with Allen Fire Department? No. As far as employees that work for Allen Fire Department, we have 2 current employees that the only other employment they have is Allen Fire Department. I think we have 4 now that work at both here in Allen. 2 of those, the only other employment they have is Allen Fire Department. The other 2 they do the fireman thing. So they work at Midland, they work at Allen, they work here, and however many other jobs they know. So to say that there's just some type of one-way situation going there is, again, I would say an inaccurate portrayal. So I think, again, people want to paint a picture that is sometimes inaccurate because they use the information they want to use. That's why I'm throwing the numbers up here. That's why I'm throwing statistics up here. That's why I'm throwing you data. The data is mathematical. This is not opinions. This is not like a belly button that everybody has. This is not an opinion. Like, these are data. This is statistics. These are people that work in the profession that come with a non-biased answer on what should happen.
Mr. Chairman, I don't mean to interrupt, but I do have a motion concerning this, but I was holding off until Mr. Thompson finishes his presentation. I'd like to offer that motion at that time, if I may.
So again, addressing concerns and items to highlight. Fear of Allen using county personnel to offset their personnel. Squad personnel will be tied to Allen's district, or that Allen Fire will take priority in response over other districts. Again, that's inaccurate. A statement that's been made to commissioners that in no way does anything that we authorize as far as the co-location in any contract that we draw up, does it require our personnel to stay there, to only respond in their district, to prioritize their district. None of that. They operate continually just like they do now. They're free agents for the county, and can respond and do anything they want. And to step back, and I know we talked about, that Allen Fire Department's adding the squad to pad their numbers. It is no secret that the Deputy Chief of Allen Fire Department works for us. He's a captain for us. Does a natural familiarity with the people there ease a response to that? Yes. But our goal with that program is to have that type of relationship with every fire department in this county, where they feel like they're so familiar with those people that they feel like they can call up at any time for anything. And that essentially is what happens. That's why when you look at that number of calls, that Allen Fire Department has the double amount of calls that any other fire department in this county does on responses. One's because of location, and two is because we have such a relationship with that department that they feel comfortable on calling on us. And that's what we want to build with every other fire department in this county. It just happens to be a little bit more natural with that department because we do have some cross-employment. So that's where that ties back to. Conflict of interest because of dual employment between county and Allen Fire. I just spoke to that one. And then a disagreement of location and squad placement. And we've talked about that as far as the location and what the fire study said as well as what the data says. Estimated timeline and next steps. So this is Allen's estimated timeline, 2025 Q3, finalize the architectural design and contractor selection. So contract to define use rights and maintenance and cost sharing if we were to choose to decide to move forward. The 2025 Q4 would be to begin construction, and then hopefully by Q4 2026 stations would be operational. So conclusion, decision is data driven and consistent with county planning and independent study findings. Optimal location for response times, coverage, and cooperation based on the data that was provided. Additional opportunity for public nonprofit cost share, reduced cost. It improves service delivery and employee morale and retention, and allows us to protect our citizens better and optimize their tax-funded services already in place to their benefit. And I spoke about a couple items that I had that were canned that I knew if I didn't remember to say it, I'll get up here and I'll forget them. So one, these are concerns, again, that were brought up that I wanted to make sure that I articulated fully. Why not co-locate with Mount Pleasant instead? Mount Pleasant is a value partner, but their timeline for a second station keeps moving. Allen has the land cleared, financing approved, and is ready to build. This isn't about picking sides, it's about seizing the first realistic opportunity to co-locate Squad 410 in a true fire station rather than an EMS bay and achieving a closer, more centralized response. Number two, this new station is too close to the district line. Will this lead to redrawing boundaries and lost tax revenue? I know there are concerns about district lines, but let me be clear. This is not about placing resources where this is about placing resources where they serve the county best, not about with redrawing maps. No boundary changes are proposed, no revenue shifts are on the table. What this does do is improve service for everyone along that corridor, including neighboring districts. Number three, shouldn't Allen and Georgeville merge instead of building another station? Whether departments merge is typically left to their boards. Unless we as a county see that there are failures in meeting the contract, the county forcing mergers is not going to sit well with the fire service of the county. There are different levels of service being provided by every fire department of this county, but currently they are all meeting the requirements of the contract and the ordinance to my knowledge. Number four, Allen can't afford this project, the county's footing the bill. There's been some talk that Allen can't afford this. This is simply not the case. They've got financing assets in the bank and the dirt has already moved on the site. The county's investment is capped at 1/3 of the project, making this a strong public nonprofit partnership with a big return on service delivery. They are in the process of selecting an architect and a contractor. Allen has secured bank approval, holds approximately $475,000 in liquid assets, and has already cleared and graded the site. Concern: departments must get approval to build new stations. I want to clear up a misconception. Departments don't need county approval to build a station. That requirement does not exist. Certificates of need only apply to 2 big ticket items with their apparatus and air packs. Allen will build the station, and the question is whether or not the county wants to maximize the benefit of co-locating Squad 410 there. Is this the best use of county resources? At the end of the day, this is about efficiency and impact. This move shortens Squad 410's drive time to multiple districts, gets them out of an EMS bay and into a purpose-built fire station. That's a win for the county, for the taxpayers, and for public safety. Currently, the county is spending a significant amount of money for the salaries of these positions on Squad 410, and we need to do our best to optimize and best use the county taxpayer investment to the best of our ability, by optimizing this program and getting the most protection we can for the money. Putting them in the right location is the first step in optimizing this program. And the whole purpose and the whole reason I'm up here is that if we're going to do it, I want to do it right. And that is the whole purpose behind every bit of this. You know, whether or not it's the debate on whether the fire station is sitting in the right place, whether Allen Fire Department should or should not build the station, that is one conversation. The whole purpose and the whole reason this was brought up to begin with is because I'm here advocating we've got this program in place, and I want to do the best with it that we can. I want to do the right thing with it. I want to use it to the best of our ability. And this is not about Allen Fire Department Station from Jacob Thompson Fire Marshal's aspect. I'm here as an advocate for this program that the county funds to find us a better place that's more optimal for the location, more optimal for the response, and more optimal for our operations.
I know you guys are going to make the motion, and that's fine. If I could just ask you, so I know Larry and I specifically had met with Allen Fire Department multiple times, and we knew that they were going to be building this new fire department, which is completely fine. It doesn't require anything from us to decide. They decided they were going to do that. My question is, when did you guys decide or talk about moving Squad 410 there? Because the very first time that I saw anything about this and the county needing approval for the $1 million for them to go there was 2 weeks ago. So that was the first time any of us had ever seen that. So when did those discussions start?
I don't have the data in front of me. I would say probably 2-3 months ago.
Yes, we were approached 2-3 months ago. They gave us some basic information, and we said we're going to need more information than that to talk to the commissioners about this. We needed to know how much, those kind of things. So we said, when you have some more information, come back, and then we'll be able to have a better idea of whether or not we can afford to do it and be able to take it forward to the commissioners.
Gotcha. And then to your point, and you had mentioned this, and I know that we've probably all heard the same thing, a lot of the concern that I hear from other fire departments is regarding the extra $1 million to move them there, because they're not going into their own building. We're paying to build a bigger kitchen and build bigger, multi-purpose areas that they would have within that fire department. And so those are the concerns that I hear also, along with the things that Commissioner Wortman brought up as well. But a lot of it has to do with the commingling of that extra $1 million that would be going to build the Allen Fire Department.
Yeah, and I understand those concerns. Like I said, we do have several similar situations. One with another volunteer fire department that houses EMS, and that's Midland. There's historical contracts. We can pull those and send them to you just so you can kind of see what's in those contracts, just to get an idea of kind of the ground rules that are laid out that goes with that as far as use of areas. And it's very detailed, very legalese, I'll say that. It's not something that we would draw up specifically. It's something we would get with Doug and have him draw up all the legal ramifications and things that need to go in that protects the county's investment in that. But the co-location idea is something it's not something that's new. We could go build our own station, but the cost of that is one, the kind of the heartache with that. And then two, if I had to get up here and advocate to build our own fire station, I'm going to tell you that the best optimal location for that is 3,280 some odd feet from where Allen's building a fire station. Like, to get up here and I mean, I would be advocating for the same exact place. And that's why, to me, this makes sense. I'm not one that's going to get up here and talk eloquently to you. I'm going to give you straightforward. And if I had to get up here and give you the same presentation for us building our own fire station for that unit, the data shows me that that's where it's supposed to go, and that I would be providing you the same exact thing. And so from a fiscal responsibility standpoint, if Allen Fire Department's intended to build a fire station and they're already investing money in this, to me, it makes more fiscal responsibility sense to go and co-locate with them, save the county money, than to go build our own independent station, which may cost upwards of $1.5 million, $2 million, depending on what we build. Because the other thing you get into with this is that we could go small, but whenever you build a fire station, you get into sprinklers, codes have changed, there's tons of things that go into it that drives the cost up, that may or may not have used to been there. So that's where I'm, from my vantage point, that's the data I'm looking at.
Yeah,
So.
no, I get it. I want you to understand and know kind of some of the things that, and I do appreciate everybody that has reached out to us, because this is very complicated and very territorial, I'll say. And so I think, it's very important for us to understand as much as possible some of the history and then also how all of this works. I mean, it is very complicated.
When you start dealing with the laws and you start integrating nonprofit law with the laws that the county has to follow, and then district laws and the contracts and everything, and how all of that stuff commingles, it can be very, very abstract.
Yes.
So,
Thank you.
I want to preface my motion by saying that, to me, my main concern in all this is adequate coverage for all our citizens, and I know you share that point of view. And when I first heard about this co-location idea on August 4th, I thought, hey, sounds great. I didn't know anybody would have a problem with it. Well, I found out some people do have a problem with it. And I think we need a fair discussion. Therefore, I move to postpone any decision on this matter until the Board of Commissioners has had an opportunity to hold a special meeting with the chiefs of the other affected fire stations to hear from them concerning their support or objections or complaints concerning this proposal. I so move.
Second.
Before we vote on that, can we go ahead and set a date so we can get the notices and stuff?
Someone mentioned to me next week, but I don't know.
Yeah, well, I was thinking next Monday, but we got to notify whoever y'all been talking to. You got to let Madam Clerk know so she can notify them.
Jacob, I know we had started talking to the fire districts. Have we gotten responses on availability for next Monday?
So he has called a fire service board meeting for next week.
Okay.
Chief Ennis, who is the president of the Chiefs Association, or Chiefs Association, we call it Fire Service Board. But he has called a meeting for next Monday at 6:30 p.m. at Reimer Fire Department. Now, if we need to change that, we can do that, but
It's how important it is to you.
based off the information that we were provided, that, looking at everything, that we went ahead and called it so that way we could give everybody some adequate notice so it wasn't so short of a notification.
So if we did that, then we would need to go to Reimer?
Yes. Now, we can change the meeting location as well. That's
Well,
just
the only thing
something
I'm
as simple as an email. So.
I want to make sure that it's broadcasted. That's my concern, so that people that are not able to come for whatever reason can watch it online. And so I don't know, how would that work with our communications? Would we be able to broadcast it from Reimer, or do we need to have it here?
I think it would be wise to request that they move the meeting location to our multipurpose room so that we have all the equipment to do it properly.
I would too, if it's possible, to integrate Teams into that so anybody that could be present could participate in that as far as fire departments.
Yep, I can do that.
So special call meeting next Monday?
Correct, yep.
What
6:30.
time?
6:30.
6:30?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Monday the 25th.
Will you amend your motion?
That's fine with me, we'll add that into the motion.
I'll second that amendment.
Okay, you second. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Are we still discussing real quick?
Yeah.
Can the departments that involved bring a spreadsheet of what they've currently bought with their fire taxes as far as personnel and radios, since that was the big reason why we had to keep it the same?
Just for Allen or for all of them?
And anybody involved with this, so Mount Pleasant, Allen, Georgeville, that way we can see what they've spent their money on.
I can make that request, yes, sir.
If we're buying ladder trucks or we're buying personnel, I'd like to see, because we took a lot of heat for keeping those fire district rates that way, and it's because they came and begged for it. And I'm fine if that's what we're using it for, but I would like to see what we've bought with that money so far.
Yes, sir. I can make that request.
Any more discussion? All right. right, ready to vote? All in favor of the special meeting, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, passes 5-0. And Madam Clerk, will you reach out to anybody who has any kind of interest in this? Because the meeting's just going to be about this, so they can show their support or opposition. Okay. I just want to make sure that the people who are complaining have a chance to show up, and there's a lot of people will complain and then not show up to complain. So that
And
way
we'll
we have
provide
open
notification
discussion.
through our chiefs group as well, so that way everybody is aware. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, next are appointments to boards and committees. I'm going to try this. Well, all right. I would like to see if we just do a motion to accept all 8 appointments, recommendations, and removals as on the agenda, rather than go to each one. Anybody support that motion? We're going to go one by one.
Did anybody notice anyone's on here? I'm sorry, my apologies. Are there any on here that have served more than the allotted terms?
There's a couple exceptions in the active living.
Okay.
There. All right, we'll go one by one. Okay, first motion is going to be for the active living in parks. Do I have a motion?
One second.
You had a second? Any discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, passes 5-0. All right, next one is another active living in parks. You have a motion for that?
I'll make a motion.
That's one that, okay, somebody seconded it.
I'll make a motion to approve their recommendation.
Anybody? Second?
Second.
All right. And that's one that the person has served more than one, but we have no qualified personnel on that one. All right. Any other discussion? All right. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, passes 5-0. Next, need a motion on active parks and living. For the next appointment.
Make a motion to approve Kenny Robinson per their request.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passes 5-0. Next is one more, the last appointment for Active Living and Parks Commission.
Make a motion to approve Chad Roberts per their request.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. All right, next is appointment on Planning and Zoning Commission. I have a motion.
Make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve Charles Paxton per their recommendation for the Harrisburg area.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 5-0. The next one's another appointment to the Planning and Zoning Commission. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? 5-0. And this is the last one for the Planning and Zoning Commission appointment. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Passed 3-2. And then the last one is a motion on the removal for the Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee. I have a motion.
I'll make the motion to remove Diamond Staten Williams. I'm sorry. I'll make the motion to remove Diamond Staten Williams from the Adult Care Home Community Advisory Committee.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passes 5-0. And that was it. All right, we do have vacancies available, so go to the website and submit. We need volunteers for these boards. And hopefully we corrected the website so you don't have to sign up for 3. I think when you went there, made you mandatory sign up for 3 positions. You may not be interested in 3, you may only be interested in 1. So I encourage you to go out there, look on there, find something that interests you and apply. Thank you. All right, reports. All right, first report, any updates from who are you served liaison with any boards or anything?
I went to the Central Carolina Regional. They were just talking about various House bills. That's the one that meets in Charlotte. Also did Government 101 at Afton. Got excellent reviews. And I would like to thank all the staff that were there. I will name them at our work session. I don't have my commissioner phone on me. They had emailed the actual names of everybody that helped out, and I don't want to miss any, so I would like to name them at our work session. But they went out of their way. They served the food. They cleaned the tables. They engaged with everybody. And so that Government 101 at Afton was a massive success. Byron and Melanie had a major hand in that, and our communications team also had a major hand in that. So I will name them individually at our work session, but for right now, thank you as a whole to the work that they put in.
Mr. Chairman, the DHS Transportation Advisory Board reported fiscal year 24 to 25, 56,501 trips, averaging 1.7 per hour. So that's a busy bunch of people. They expected at that time to be fully staffed within the next few weeks. I think they have done that. They had, at that time, 16 drivers for 21 slots, and 2 were coming on the next week. They also reported using the Angel Track system on the buses that monitor just about everything about what's going on. If they're late getting somewhere, they know it. If they're early, they know it. If somebody's messing with the bus, they know it. So sounds like a good system to have. Local Emergency Plan Committee, we met on August 6th, and they were planning for a training day in mid-November. Red Cross report is seeking to develop sheltering facilities, having had 3 recent disasters, and free preparedness training was available from them. Some of the other participants did not have any reports to make. Purdue said some associates are getting first responder training, which is good. Then as new business, Kinder Morgan Pipelines made a very lengthy presentation. I'm not going to try to go through everything that we were told. It was very informative, and they are working on improving their relations with the community and that sort of thing. The pipeline they consider as a weapon in minimal National Pipeline Mapping System requires FEMA login, a weapon against emergencies. On August 12th, I met with the town of Midland, or attended the town of Midland meeting. Concerns were raised there again over mowing not being done at solar farm sites. Questions of how much energy they are actually producing, and whether they are paying their own expenses, and asking if the benefit to taxpayers is worth the cost of those facilities. Also, they expressed concern over a retention pond, and I referred them to the State Department of environmental quality about that. There was some concern about needing fencing and that sort of thing around it. They are also, in conjunction with that, concerned over, they said, the big rigs unloading building equipment, and so they were tearing up the sidewalks and the irrigation system going in and out of there. They also talked about people parking on streets, streets that have plenty of signage that there's no parking allowed, and it's like it's going into a housing area or something. And they're getting a lot of streets like that, having bad parking on there, and the people aren't getting tickets for it. They also discussed drainage problems there. And concerning the mowing, one of the members of the town council also asked about the solar farm mowing. Is that going to get improved? He made a special emphasis on that because a couple of fires that they've had at those facilities where the grass was very tall and was not being mowed. So something needs to be looked into about that. Also, I forgot from the Department of Human Services and Transportation, they mentioned Motive Care, which helps people who are on Medicaid. And they said that that organization pays their drivers an extra $250 to train other drivers. So I found that kind of interesting. That may be a good thing if they're able to do it. Let's see. Met this morning, or excuse me, this afternoon with the Cabarrus County Home and Community Block Grant Advisory Committee. They talked about their adult protection network for 2025, and is going to have a presentation called the Cabarrus Scam Jam. They're going to do this on September 24th from 9:30 to 11:30 at the Afton Active Living Center, trying to help people understand how to avoid scams and keep from having information stolen, that sort of thing. They also gave a review of the rules of operation, which need to be updated. And, I mean, they still had members on there from 2013 who are no longer on there, so they need to update their membership roles too. They talked about overspending in some areas and underspending in others and how to adjust to that. And their next meeting is November 17th. But they did give me a couple of things to talk to Sean and Doug about, if I may, after the meeting. So that's it.
Thank you. And that, going to your thing about that scam jam, just to follow up on that, a lot of elderly people are being scammed on the internet. And I see a lot of it in my work on a daily basis. This is a good program. I would encourage everyone to go because it may not be happening to you, but it could be happening to a loved one, and get the information on that because that is a huge problem everywhere on the internet. So, you got your dog.
Well, first, before we do the animal shelter, I did want to remind everyone that we do have the Cabarrus County Fair coming up September 5th through September 13th. You can purchase your tickets online for the rodeo. And then also, I did have my soil and water meeting last week, and remind you all that we do have the first annual Cabarrus County Creek Week coming up September 22nd through the 28th. So please do go and check out the website for that. It'll give you each night's events. And then tonight for the animal shelter, we did have Luann here. She is a hound dog that will be highlighted in the video as well. She is up for adoption, and Lilo. So these are our two for this month.
Hey everybody, this is Laura Lindsay at one of my favorite places, ready to meet some new friends that are looking for a new life. And here comes one of them now. This is Luann. She's a 5-year-old hound dog that's been here for a few months. Very sweet, very mellow, and waiting for a loving family to come and take her home. This is Lilo, a sweet 3-year-old Torby who's been here since July, and she is looking for a loving family to take her home, and that could be you. That's all for now, but don't forget, there's plenty of love waiting right here for you at the Cabarrus County Animal Shelter.
Thank you for that. All right. And then we just have the reports of the budget, monthly budget amendment report in your package, the monthly financial update, and the communication monthly outreach, all in your package. Anybody have anything to say on those? All right. Monthly building activity reports in your package. You can say anything on that? Okay. EDC monthly summary reports also included, and then the Super CabCo monthly report. All right. All right. And is there any general comments by the board members?
Mr. Chairman, if I may take a moment of personal privilege. I hate to embarrass my wife, but she would tell you I do it all the time anyway. But I couldn't let this night go without announcing how fortunate I am that if I make it to August 29th, it'll be our 49th anniversary. And she has been just absolutely wonderful, and I thank God for her. Thank you.
Congratulations. She must be a good woman to put up with you.
Yeah, I tell her that all the time. I tell her she's from Mount Olive, and I tell her I married the best girl in Mount Olive, and to me, she's the finest lady everywhere she goes.
Anybody else have any comments? All right. Now we have a motion to go into closed session to consult with attorney, including pending litigation, the Mike Downs versus Cabarrus County, the James Campbell versus Cabarrus County Board of Commissioners, and Steve Morris, Mark Armistead as administrator of the estate of Roger Armistead, and Diane Williams Armistead versus Van Shaw, Brent Safel, XYZ Corporation, Cabarrus County Fire Squad 410, Timothy Mills, Brandon Music, and John Doe's 1 through 10, and also discuss personnel matters as authorized by North Carolina General Statute 143-318-11A, 3, and 6. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to go into closed session.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, passes 5-0. We are in closed session. Okay. Any motions?
I think what we discussed, I have a motion to appoint Ariadne Alvera as our new board clerk.
I'll second.
All right. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Pass 5-0.
I have a motion that I need to bring to the board. As we discussed in closed session, this is not a pleasant thing for me, never was when I owned my own business. just don't like doing things like this. But I'm gonna make a motion tonight that we terminate our county manager, Sean Newton, with cause, effective immediately.
All right, I'll second it. All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed?
No.
No.
All right, pass 3-2. All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn? A second? All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? All right, pass 5-0, we're adjourned.